Hey, it's me. It's Planet Collingwood. My name's Monty Dean. Welcome to Revolution Radio Studio A. I try and mix up the intro there, trying to not say the same thing over and over again because it's been 2 years. But on a personal note, it's hot. On a personal note, it's really hot here, and I smell. A big thank you to Tony and crew for the Wi-Files. I would have joined, but at the start of the show, it's corruption. Let's talk about something else. But we can talk about this one. So if you enjoyed the last 2 hours, please go to freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio and donate what you can. Just click on the Patreon button there and give what is feasible. Apparently a cup of coffee, mind you, $5 US for a cup of coffee is like, does it come with a television or a sexual favor? I'm just wondering. And once you're there, buy some merchandise, caps and T-shirts and so on and so forth, and then pop into the chat room and hang out with awesome people who are very quiet right now because it's changeover of the show. So there you are. I'm broadcasting from Wafer Thin HQ in Melbourne, Victoria. Stan from Australia in the future because it's Wednesday at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, or is it evening? These questions will be answered by two guests that already have let out of their cages. From Sydney or Ish is Cortek. Cortek, how are you, sir?
Hello, good to be out of the cage.
Yep. Are you back in your
yes.
domicile? You're not floating about harassing children?
No, that was too much fun.
Yeah.
Can't have too much of a good thing. But you can.
And our French-sounding non-French person, which is the best French you can have, really. Oh, I'm starting with the racism. Raz is back. Now, remember, it's a children's show, or family show. So be careful of expressions.
First thing first, forgive my French. So, hello, everyone. I mean, I'm just happy to be here again. Yeah. So, what's been going on this week? This week in particular.
Well, week 2 of 2022, and did you know the 22nd of February is the 22nd of February 2022 is a Tuesday.
22nd of February, so 2202.
Yeah, 2222 is a Tuesday. So it's Tuesday, not Tuesday. It's the Prime Creator writes the best jokes, really.
Are we supposed to pay attention to 20 hours, 22 minutes, 22 seconds, just for the love of it?
Well, you do have free will, so I won't. I need to nap, but now because you put the idea in my head, I probably will stay awake for that long.
Now I'm going to do it.
If we have the proper digital clock, that will be worth it.
Yeah, but as the Galactic historian says, we have to break away from Roman numeral time. So.
Yes, detoxify from Roman numeral time. We can break away from it. We can detox from it.
Yeah, so just pretend it's 22 hours, 22 minutes, 22 seconds. And
the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time, because, there is the only moment of now. And as a 3D human spirit having a human, it's too hard on the brain to figure that out. Everything happens right now.
Time's got its own little wonky slide rule. Did you see?
Thank you. It's almost like the Doctor Who. What's time travel like? Well, it's timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly.
It's kind of like Jeremy Barry.
Speaking.
Did you hear someone got a Pixar put in them?
I'm sorry, what?
That happened.
Someone put a what in a what?
The first pig to human transplant.
Pig's heart. Okay. So yes, yes. Speaking of time. I'm pleased to report to you, gentlemen, I managed to break, fitness monitor because I used to break all my watch. Yeah, I've taken it to a whole new level now. Fitness trainers break. I can't wear them anymore. It's like
nothing's built to last.
I just had an image of a guy called Doug wearing small shorts going, "You broke me. I'm sorry, I can't work with you anymore." It's not the personal trainer you're referring to, are you?
No.
Okay. See, that's the fun part of coming from different countries where the word thong is used 7 different ways. Here, they're footwear. In the United States, they're clothing.
So, are we taking any bets about which Greek letter is going to be chosen next? Obviously, Mr. Rowe's going for Bro, I suppose. I reckon Sigma's a big front runner, and Omega
Sigma.
outside chance.
Like we need to pick a word that's friendly to the normies, and Sigma is very, very friendly.
Yeah, Mitsubishi Sigma. So we should just get everyone on the memes, get Sigma out there as if it already happened, and that kind of seems to break them.
No, I think we should go CIA PSYOP style and put out a like in Twitter you have like a poll, and what's the name of the new variant for COVID, gyro or souvlaki?
What was your street name when you were a kid? Just get some more information while you're in there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, that's the fun part of working in the CIA. Thanks to Facebook, that 3 months of investigating can be done in half an hour.
I'm flabbergasted the amount of people still checking in, checking out wherever they go. They tried to get that stuff going on a social front for a little while, and then everyone was a bit, no, do I need this? Not really.
Well, here in Victoria, sorry to interject here, because it adds to this. Here in Victoria, because they're not doing that, so there are some QR things up at like the Woolworths, and I just sail by, I get a big boat and there's like 3 sheets of wind. Anyway, just sail. Here we go, my lad. Excuse me, sir. This is a place of commerce. Please get that tall ship out of the foyer. And so they're bringing in restrictions again, which is kind of weird. And so the entertainment industry has been kicked in the nuts again, like live music and so on. Yeah.
Yeah. It almost seems like a full-blown agenda against the entertainment industry. So all that there is to entertain people is the dangerously incompetent acts of government itself.
Yeah, and so there isn't any live music at the moment. Venues are closing because they can't run an optimum, they can't survive and everything else like that. So
that was Orwell, wasn't it? All that's left is the government.
Yeah, because, the ABC is a government-funded channel, but it's not run by the government yet. But here we go. Now, we have our The Prodigal Son Returns. Is that the right? Anyway, our Central American correspondent, Bruce MacDonald, has returned home to planet Collingwood. Bruce, do you like my accent?
It's pretty bang on, Monty. Pretty bang on.
Yeah, I got Costa Rican really well.
Hello, Bruce.
I don't think you would. Hello. Yeah, nice to meet you.
Yeah, that's Raz, Bruce, Raz.
Yeah, we know one another.
There you go. Actually, Bruce, I know I'm not hopefully talking out of school and you're working on tourism. See if you can get the entire native population to have Scottish accents just to freak out the American tourists. Hello, welcome to our...
Yeah, no, their Spanish is really bad, too. They have their own language. Quebecer.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, they've been there for a while. No.
Yeah, and the linguistic structure has it in this part of Costa Rica, parts of northern Panama, and then northwestern Colombia as well.
Wait, are you saying local tribes aren't obeying the British drawn lines on a map? I'm shocked.
Not at all, and it would be Spanish down here.
So it's a form of Spanish Creole then?
No,
it's actually their own language. They've been there 7,000 years. They're using hand signals till the Spanish turn up. I think not. Well, actually, yeah. So how have you been, Bruce? Like, since you live in a garden, a version of Eden?
Well, Monty, I'm better than when we last talked. I mean, every week that goes by, things just get better for me, and I don't like to say that out loud because, it's just countercurrent. Now, I don't know, man, what's going on. But I say this to everybody now that I talk to, especially my North American friends. This is really targeted on you guys and Australia, New Zealand, and Austria. Yeah, Austria and Germany are putting in a real good effort as well. But there's a very, very distinct geography to the, let's say, the political response to COVID. And it seems, from my perspective, very deliberate. And I think it's only a matter of time before this idea, breaks into the mainstream. I mean, it's all out there now. All the evidence is out there. It just needs a compelling orator with the courage to write a good column for a mainstream magazine, and then let the dominoes fall. People will start to figure it all out, right? Subprime mortgage was a scam. This is a scam. I think really, when you get away from all of the shaitan, as the Muslims call them, and you just look at it from a very human perspective, I think this is just the new form of criminal enterprise. I think governments are just like the highest mafias on the food chain now. And what's our big scam this year? We're going to try this $6 trillion vaccine scam. And I mean, certainly there's a lot of side effects to the vaccines, and a percentage of people have died. But I mean, if you look at the best available evidence out there, and people who are not necessarily anti-vax but are questioning why other treatments weren't used, then you got to wonder why they're pressing this vax so much, and why it happens in kind of unison. Like you get Macron and Trudeau and Biden saying super cryptic things, which almost seem to me, I've never heard anybody else say this. I think I've mentioned this to you off air, Monty. It seems like cursing to me, like literally Old Testament biblical cursing. The dark winter. You and your family are going to suffer horribly and die. Who says that as a leader of a country and allows it to be written down?
Oh,
and then
yes.
you got Trudeau following up with it. Anti-vaxxers are racist, misogynists, extremists. Basically, let's just put a yellow star on us. Anti-vaxxers.
If I may interject, sorry. Apparently, there's a network error, so I don't know if we're being heard on Studio A. It looks good from our end, but we're being told in the chat room that there's a network error on the player. So we are being still recorded, so just remember that. No, network error. Oh, joy. So if
Hijacker was in here for a second, wasn't he?
What are you doing? You started.
I'm serious. I saw Bruce and Hijacker come in at the same time. I don't know what happened to Hijacker, but if we're off the air, I'd know where I'd point my bone.
No, yeah. No, because no. 5x5. All of us are here, according to Skype. So
great to hear from you, Bruce.
Actually, what I'm going to do is
you too, Cortek, you too.
I'll drop the server and then come back. So let's see if that gives it a bit of a. No, I don't want to mute that. I'll just remove from call. And okay, and then I should be able to. I should call, and we're calling. And we're back. So hopefully, and we're back. Okay. Right, there we go. So, Revolution Radio, please send money so we can feed the hamsters to keep this machine going. And thank you for sharing, Bruce. We'll get back to it, I'm sure. Mainly, but it's thinking about what it is. I've started to leave the house with a tennis racket, and geez, the things I can do now, it's fantastic. I can basically do anything.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, see, Bruce is on a news fast. Apparently, a sports person came into Australia and he's not vaxxed, and everyone's losing their collective minds. And so that's been going on for the last 6 days, 7 days, 8 days.
Yeah.
The hypocrisy. It's the hypocrisy.
Yes, yeah. Themes of Planet Collingwood: hypocrisy and corruption.
H. What does H stand for? Hypocrisy.
Today's show is brought to you by or H or H or let's not. The Australian English language. It's unique.
A.
There you go.
Yeah. A. So yeah, it's warm here, and as my parents say, oh, it's stinking hot, which is code for it's that hot that I smell, and boy, do I smell! I'm glad I live alone.
What does your cat think?
She's nowhere to be seen. As you know, when you smell yourself, that's how much you smell. Like, oh God, that's me. Oh,
in Anchorman or whatever, when that guy pulls out that that scent kind of thing, and it's scent of a jacket. Well, when that happens, anyway, that's kind of, if I get a little smelly, that's how the cat gets to me. It kind of gets under there in the armpit and just almost kind of bites it.
Stupid human. Dave, you smell.
It smells like somebody vomited Indian food into a used baby diaper.
I'm not sure how you discovered that smell.
Sex Panther.
I haven't seen the movie for a while.
It works 100% of the time.
Yeah, I may have to. There's a second one that was so popular, they made two, and it's worth seeing from my perspective because Christine Applegate is lovely. So yeah, and also she does play a strong, independent woman, and so it works quite well from memory.
Do you think they'll ever reach a Fast and Furious 10? Just for shits and giggles to make.
Yes, they are. Apparently it's the last one in the series, and there's going to be an ending. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson said no, so he won't be in it because him and Vin have had almost fisticuffs. Apparently, they don't get on, and it's like really, you get paid millions of dollars, and yeah. Oh, hello. The server just left. Like, God damn it. All right. Let's not remove. I want to call back. Yes. Oh.
Is this normal, Monty?
No, this is not normal.
No, this is not normal. Yeah.
I swear Hijacker came in before somehow.
Okay, why can't I call it back? That's just odd. All right. Okay, there. And we're calling, and it's back. So yeah, this is why I record the show. So for those, if you want to hear what we talk about off air, it's basically going, what's going on? So anyway,
did you try turning it off and turning it on again?
Oh yeah, I've been trying. Yeah, we've done that on the planet for a couple of times, and 3 million years. Yes, but I'll see now because there's a 30-second delay. The chat's going, oh, they're missing, and
it's like a cryptic puzzle.
Yeah, because this is Revolution Radio, and Planet Collingwood is doing a deep dive into the most dangerous information for humanity. I'm just waiting to be swatted like Tim Pool. Did you see that Tim Pool got swatted live on air?
Was that recently? Who's Tim Pool? I know what SWAT it is, but who's Tim Pool?
Tim Pool is a very popular podcaster. He's an actual journalist. Which is kind of weird because he does work, and someone called in to the local police saying 2 people have been killed and someone's going to shoot themselves, and so the police actually turned up while they're on air.
Yeah, it's not a cool thing to do.
Oh no. So basically, lucky enough, one of their staff members was outside and saw the police turned up and said, what are you doing here? And so actually had,
guys sneaking through my garden. Hello.
And I can't remember the guest, Tatum, but he's an ex-cop. And so he basically pointed out now there's going to be a relationship with Timcast and the police because you're podcasters and blah blah because where the building's located. So anytime that something comes in now, they'll be able to call someone in Tim's organization's like, is this happening? So it's a step forward. But yeah, Tim wasn't exactly happy, strangely enough. And
it's been going on for a long time. It's surprising that there aren't proper safeguards to make sure no one gets swatted after the first couple of times, or
Yeah. And then 2 days after that, apparently there was a DOS attack, or I don't know what that means.
Good. I don't like the whole swatting thing.
Denial of
whoever
service.
swatted Tim Pool, I just say good job. I don't like the guy at all. So yeah, I'm quite happy about that.
Oh, yeah, well, tell us what you really think. Come on, open up.
Tim Pool is a bit too much of a scared. How can I put this? He's always apprehensive and not exactly the kind of person who is willing to step into anything that is even the least bit provocative. in order to.
Maybe he's doing that to appeal to a wider audience.
He's doing it for money, and he's doing it to stay on air. You want to see Tim Pool sweat bullets? Just watch him talk to Alex Jones. The amount of time he's like, "Ooh, I'm Tim Pool. I don't agree with this. Ooh, I'm Tim Pool. I don't agree with his shirt. Ooh, I'm Tim Pool. I don't agree with his shoes. Ooh, I'm Tim Pool." Then why did you have the guy over? Come on.
Well,
It's
to be
just
fair,
pathetic.
the last time I saw Alex on with Tim Pool, they were fact checking him, and he's got It was like 97%. I like how Alex is a right wing conspiracy whack job, and he's got a success rate of 97% being correct.
I won't say he's a fence sitter, even though he has a butt crack that goes up all the way to his neck. But
his heart's in the right place, but he's a child.
Yeah,
No,
but okay. Yeah, all right. It sounds like someone's jealous. I'm just putting that out there as well. You can not like someone, fair enough, but he has an audience and people enjoy what he does. So, I found out Crowder has started back, and he's actually on YouTube. So place your bets on how long that's going to last. And
2 weeks.
Do you work for the government, Cortek? What's your answer? Is like, 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
Just keep rehashing the same thing from Total Recall to right now.
Good reference, because that's where it comes from. And Red Pill. Red Pill comes from Total Recall, the first one as well. Take the red pill and you'll remember everything. And interesting enough, Tim Pool was name-checked in a hip-hop track where it's like, I'm going nowhere like Tim Pool's beanie.
Ouch.
No, Tim's gone awesome.
He probably sleeps and dreams with it, It's just probably if you see him in a dream, he'll have a beanie too.
Yeah. I can imagine psychics going like, "Why are you wearing a beanie in Egypt 3,000 years ago?"
I'm sure if he gets past this, I'm sure he'll do well if he keeps going. Who knows?
He's got a small operation, but Crowder, he's up to nearly 5.6 million subscribers on YouTube, and
did they invite him back? Like, try to get him back?
Who?
5.6 million subscribers guy. Or they just unsuspended him or something. What happened?
Who knows? He keeps coming back, and I don't think he's monetized or anything else like that. He's doing well with Mug Club because he's part of Blaze TV. And if you pay, it's like $100 US a year, and you get everything. And if you actually join up with Mug Club, they send you a mug. So
nice.
He's doing well. Like he hires 14 people as well. He's got a studio. He's upsetting like CNN and everyone else like that. Someone actually released a graph of Joe Rogan's viewership, and you can see why the mainstream media are really upset with him, because he gets up to 11 million views on one show, and the closest was something on CNN, and they only get 3. So he's getting 75% more viewership than NBC and CNN and ABC and POV and POSE and
Everyone really wants to hear about the content that those mainstream media outlets aren't allowed to do anymore. So it's about interesting content.
Well, interesting enough, because for whatever reason, Crowder has CNN on in the background, and so that seems to be like not nemesis, but the thing to have a go at. And there were actually CNN was showing, I think it was live, but Fauci was getting ripped apart by Rand Paul. And it was great. It's like, as Bruce was saying, how we're getting to the point where people are going, wait a minute. Senator Paul is basically going, he was talking about how there's emails, and Fauci was basically trying to discredit other scientists because they weren't following the same narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and then of course, they keep doing Fauci impression where he sounds like the Nutty Professor before he takes it's half Woody Allen, half Jerry Lewis, and every time he's got such a victimhood thing. Fauci, you're attacking me. No, I'm pointing out through your emails that you're attacking scientists that don't follow your narrative. See, look.
Haven't most of the scientists been killed? Because there's been quite a purging of microbiologists, like in the last few years.
Well, more like a decade, and homeopaths as well, and naturopathic healers. And it's all starting to make sense now. Yeah, it's all starting to make sense now.
All across the board, really, really early on, there was reports about scientists afraid to speak out because they saw early on what happened to ones that were just discredited their whole life's work.
Well, it started with funding. Like you had to follow the narrative to get funding, and then they just made it worse by lose the career, then you lose your life. Fun times to be, wear a white coat.
And they wonder why people are a little bit sus on science. That don't look up movies, utter propaganda.
Oh no! See, what you have to do I haven't watched it yet, but a lot of people have. All you have to do is you remove climate change and put in COVID, and it's an own goal. They haven't realised it's like you're just pointed out how far the insane left are into insanity. I'm still going to watch it. Oh, apparently we've got dead air again. But we've been recorded, so for those on YouTube, you're getting the full Monty. And that's a reference to a breakfast from World War II, not that strip show. Dear God. Yeah, have a name by Monty. Oh, you're full?
Did you guys not see Hijacker call then? And if we just drop then it's him. Anyway, keep going.
No, I did not. So, gone back. Again, Jeb's in there giving me a thing, so I don't know. I'm just going to keep going because the server's
it's Hijacker. Here. How does he still have server rights or anything to be able to do this?
I don't know. It's not coming up at all on my end. So
I'm seeing him call in because I'm friends with him.
Oh, well, see.
Okay.
Should I defriend him? He's not coming in through me, is he?
No, that's not how it would work.
No. But I can see him trying to call in, and then if we drop off right afterwards, I don't know how it works, but...
Go on.
Fun times.
Oh, yeah. Just trying to do a comedy show and talk about stuff, but,
I'm in stitches.
Yeah. Are you sitting down, Bruce? Calm down.
I am. Yeah. You know what I'm looking for now?
What?
What?
You know what I'm looking for now?
What is it?
Very hard to find over here. I'm looking for donkeys, burros, jackasses. I thought.
Oh, equine.
Just going.
Apparently, my player's playing us, so there we go. So, I think we're back, and yeah.
Let's knock over a few bowling pins while we're here. Let's start with the prospect of war. 0.
Yeah, no, there's just not.
That's gonna hurt.
Just take half station right at the knees in the first 30 minutes here, Monty.
There's no prospect for war, but there's at least 150% chance of preparing for war because you've got to keep the economy going over.
Oh
yeah.
Those maternity suits so Air Force women can fly in high altitudes don't come cheap.
Yeah, well, I mean, the lawsuits alone of like, why would you take a baby up into G4? So, really? Go ahead, Bruce.
Here's a fun fact not a whole lot of people know. If you spoke Mandarin and you were to stand on a street corner in downtown Taipei, which has about 10 million citizens, it's the capital city of Taiwan, and did a Gallup poll and asked them if they wanted to rejoin China, about 90% would say yes. So this whole Taiwan-China thing is just window dressing for the West. Now, the government in Taiwan right now, you got to understand the history, okay? There were people living there for 300 years. The Japanese came in 1895 and they took over, man. And they ran until the end of World War II, and then they got kicked out of Taiwan. Now, the people who were there were called Formosans because they come from the province of Formosa in China. And they thought they were going to get to run their own government. And then the Kuomintang came over in 49 with the whole nationalist army, 1 million-man army, and they wiped out all political opposition. They killed about 10,000 people in 2 weeks. and then they hung their heads from lampposts, and so a lot of the politics in Taiwan is between a few bloodlines of the original old families who settled there 300 years ago, hacked out a living in Taiwan, fought headhunting Polynesian tribes in the mountains, and then the Chinese, the Kuomintang, who came over in 1949. But from a person on the ground perspective, 90% of Taiwanese want to rejoin China. And if you ask them why, they say, because we're all Chinese. Okay? Now, that might sound racist to a socially entrained and conditioned North American going through our education system, but that's just completely normal over there, right? Well, we're all the same race. So if 90% of them want to rejoin China, how is there going to be a war between Taiwan and China?
And who's stopping? I just like calling China West Taiwan. Who's stopping that going through then? Like, who's saying no, we're not joining? But 9 out of 10 people want to. Oh, we'll just ignore them. Is it someone? Is it the shadow government? Is it the corporations? Is it just another patsy so they can start another war? Because the Chinese would like to get it back because of, as you pointed out, and the people would like it. So who's saying no, this won't happen?
Tell me something, Bruce. You're an expert in this. Say from since World War II's perspective, what type of government is Taiwan exactly? I've heard all kinds of conflicting infos. They're fascists. They do the salute. But I've heard they're also very, very technologically advanced as well. So please give me your take on it.
Yeah, so Taiwan is like high-end Chinese economy. It would probably have as much going on as any of the high-tech cities in the mainland now. And one of the reasons that a lot of the companies went to the mainland, first they went to Taiwan. Like when I was living in Taiwan from 92 to 94, there were technology alleys where you could buy anything, like a motherboard, like anything. You could just take your computer, take your
I use their laptop and smartphone Asus, and I have to say Asus is one of the best out there.
Yeah. Taiwan's come into a lot of markets and done very, very well, right? It's a powerhouse of an economy. I'd say their standard of living is better than North America now. And what do I mean by that? I mean electromagnetic rail service, so you can travel 5 kilometers in 90 minutes. A lot of Asian countries have that now. South Korea, we've actually fallen behind at an infrastructure level. Like if you actually go out and travel, that we're in the front of the world is complete bullshit. It's not true anymore. So there's not going to be any war with Taiwan. I mean, this is all about China slowly humiliating America, and they're doing it day by day now, week by week, and it's really a transition in global consciousness about, who has power and who has influence. And China's stepping up, and they're saying, look, and a lot of their complaints and a lot of things they're saying, a lot of people in the world agree with. And it doesn't matter whether you're capitalist or communist. America has managed the world poorly since the end of World War II. It became a Roman orgy of excess and power drunkenness. Now you can go down the extraterrestrial rabbit hole, Illuminati, all that shit. It doesn't matter. They have all those dark magical societies in Asia too. Spin-offs, dark schools of Buddhism, and dark schools of Taoism. They have all that. And we're going to see it as they slowly begin to take over the world. We're going to see their deep state.
And
right?
Coming from galactic historian perspective, their secret society has been on part disrespected and shamed by the Western one, and there's been a lot of karmic revenge. For instance, on the Indian side, you have the call center. Now, from a simple scam perspective, you're like, hey, that's a scam going on. But if you look closely, you'll see there's a lot of karmic things going on in it. Now, back to China. There's something that happened long ago, and that was Hillary selling blueprints to China for military aircraft and all that. And I've seen the Chinese J-20, and it's completely like a F-35. But in the 6th generation fighter aircraft that's coming, China has a lot of good design coming up. So militarily, is China just a paper tiger with cheap knockoffs, or is it actually a worthwhile opponent that can actually put on a fight if shit happens? What do you think?
Well, I think they have a lot of bodies to throw at a conflict if it came to that, right? But I'll give you a little insight into the motivation of the average Chinese soldier. The Chinese military and the CCP has developed an army helmet for its soldiers that is able to discharge a bullet from inside the helmet to kill you. And you're remotely monitored through your helmet too. And if you disobey an order, they kill you where you stand. Okay, and this is a country that has to invent something like this to get people to fight a threat to anybody. Okay,
themselves.
But before we start banging our chests, and because this always sounds like a West is the best conversation.
Yeah.
The United States is so morally and spiritually dilapidated now. They couldn't win a war against the Bahamas. I mean, when is the last time America won a war?
Yeah, and can I just clarify? Not clarify, but I would say it's the leadership. It's not the people. But after decades of being put into a comfortable position, that's how there's that element of taking over of America. And you just look at what's happening now in the leadership. I mean, sleepy, groupie Joe Biden is apparently the leader of the free world, and it's like, well, he could fall asleep. I don't trust him walking through a door.
Is that pantomime still going? Is it?
Oh yeah. Kamala Harris.
Biden's getting serious and he's saying stuff now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, he's the fun part. In a couple of months they're going to start campaigning for the midterms, which are February at the end of this year, and that's going to be interesting because because at the moment there's only two parties. So if the Republican Party wins, routs the Democrats because all the blue states are shite. You'll see a massive turn of narrative to try and win the next presidential election, be it either Biden or Harris, or they'll bring someone in because they're both crap. Like Harris has the worst approval rating, I think, in history, or at least since World War II.
I'd say history. I'd just say it.
Yeah, we'll just bump it up to history. Yeah.
The whole Biden being president thing is the most. I don't even know what to say about this. It's funny. It's something I don't like. At the same time, it's a blessing because I don't have to care about it. And it gives you that sort of a breathing room to take a nice break, a nice fast from the news. Because every time you look at him, you're like, oh, Biden's still on. I don't have to care. But if Trump was on, I would actually care what he's saying. I would actually pay attention to the news, and I wouldn't exactly be able to fast myself, to starve myself. And that will be a little bit of a pisser, really. So yeah, I'm quite glad Biden is in there. From that perspective, he's actually very, very good. Like the saying goes, sleepy Joe is waking people up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's even like here in Victoria. I only bring it up because I'm a Victorian, so I try not to bore people with like whatever's happening. However, our premier has come back. Apparently, he had like 6 months off, and it's like anyone in any other industry would have been fired. But our fearless leader, which I think is in German, Führer. Now,
he's looking more and more like a troll every day too.
Oh yeah, like someone said, I bet I could take Daniel Andrews in a fight. It's like, I don't know. He's got that hunchback, so it looks like he's in a fighting stance. And I'm sure those ears are razor sharp.
Gnarled fingers.
But I've completely ignored them. People are ignoring. They're pushing the whole booster thing here now. Number 3, and like at some point, people are going to realize like, why am I having 5 shots a year?
What? This is a yearly program? This is just like the yearly influenza. I didn't see that coming.
The CDC actually, the CDC like the narrative's changing. CDC has come out and said, it looks like in America, 75% of the people that were with COVID died from COVID. They died with COVID. And it's like, we said that 18 months ago and got thrown off social media. And it H's for hypocrisy, as Cortek pointed out.
They're going to be giving those boosters.
By the letter H. Sorry, Bruce.
They're going to be giving those boosters out with Happy Meals by June.
Yeah, well, Krispy Kreme in a brothel in Austria, have a jab and then you can have a jab, and Canada. I know So you want to make fun of Canada, it's actually the ruling elite. Sorry, bunny ears ruling elite. It's not the Canadians, because they're lovely. I mean, we're talking to one right now. But apparently Quebec is going to have a COVID tax for unvaccinated people to help pay for the health system. It's like, when
my God.
Yeah, like I thought Australia was bad, but Canada's like, yeah, hold my maple syrup.
Let me give a French. Oh mon Dieu. Mandatory.
Sacre bleu. What the?
Quebec is quite special, though, in the whole French thing. They won't even have stop sign that says English things. They will write French everywhere. It's like, holy shit.
They're cocksuckers.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think the French, the French are so French, they don't want the Canadian French to come anywhere near them. So that's how French they are in Quebec.
I'll tell you something in the whole Francophone sphere. African French have a good relationship with France, but Canadian Quebec, not really. They're their own thing. Not really at all. Because I fall in the category of African French. And I can tell you, we have a good relationship with the French, France. They come in here all the time. We have fun all the time. But the Canadian and the Quebecois, never have an argument with a Quebecois. Never have an argument with a Quebecois. They're completely something else. Complete different reality bubble.
Well, we have a reporter that has been to Quebec. And Bruce, what's the difference between English and French in Quebec?
What do you mean? What do you mean? The people?
Phoneme,
just the attitude, really.
Oh.
Well, look, you don't want to get me started on this topic. Like,
all right, we'll move on.
Just quickly.
Yeah.
Just
they're cocksuckers, Monty.
Yeah, language.
Oh yeah, I forgot. This isn't after. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're on a different show now. This is Planet Collingwood. We aim for a family audience and don't get anyone under 16.
Get real opinions.
And then we make fun of it because it's a comedy show. So we deep dive, but usually there's a gag at the end.
I'm curious as to why now.
I'll say this: I don't believe that the Quebec Premier believes in the tax on the unvaccinated. He's not that big a booster of the whole program that's going on right now. I think it's a result of a deal that was made with Trudeau, where Quebec is going to receive something. Quebec's very greasy. It's very venal. It's one of those old Catholic cultures, And if you go to these old Catholic cultures, I live in one now in Costa Rica, anything can be bought. Favor, flesh, drugs, like anything, right? And Quebec's very much like that. So I guarantee you, he promised them something. So there's a lot of politicking going on, but I mean they've spent their load now, man. I mean they're cornered rats now. This is the point where they're most dangerous because more and more people are starting to go, what? You told us this, and it wasn't true. And you didn't set up any pre-treatment so people didn't have to go into hospitals. You banned and scarcified ivermectin and hydrochloroquine. Why'd you do all that? You could have saved, tens of thousands of lives. Why did you do all that? And people, they're not going to go as far as we go. They're not going to go aliens or watchers or any of these crazy narratives we amuse ourselves with in alternative radio. They'll probably rest in simple corruption, greed, and a society gone mad, right? But at that breaking point, we have the opportunity to create a real change, and we can't miss that opportunity. And the breaking point can't be too reactive. You don't want people tearing things down and stuff. Apathy would be the best response, forming micro-communities, limiting access to your money on the part of government by transacting less or transacting with people who will barter with you or do everything off book. What happens when government loses its connection with people is the economy goes black market, okay? So even China, with the authoritarianism of the Chinese Communist Party, probably has, of its total economy, probably 40 or 50% is black market, meaning unregistered, no taxes, nothing, okay? It's like 60, 70% in Taiwan. Same thing in Japan. It's just the way these cultures operate, right? and they're very mature cultures. And it just, yeah, government will never go away. People will just learn to not give a shit, become more apathetic to it. So they're killing
Way
themselves.
ahead of you.
Yeah.
Which is, dare I say, what the Conservatives want, less government and I want to live my life, but do good things, but not micromanage everything in my life, which is what the Chinese are doing, where, the social credit score, and it's like, how can anyone on the planet say we live in a free country when you've seen the last 2 years of everything?
That was on Black Mirror as well.
Yeah. So, and what's the other flashpoint people are talking about? The Ukraine. There's not going to be any war there. It would have happened a long time ago. That's a circus act they pull every time they need some distraction. Every time they want to draw your attention away from, the tank that the girl's supposed to be drowning in the magician show. They make you look at something else, and all of a sudden there she is, and she got out of the chains. There's nothing's going to go down in Ukraine. I mean, they'll make it look like there may be a few volleys and exchanges, some shots fired between groups of 8 or 10 soldiers. There may be a casualty here and there, but it's not going to break out, right? If you look at the world closely for the last 10 years or so, the only armed conflicts we've seen have been really forms of civil war. Right, like Syria was just a cluster. Yeah, we can't swear.
A mess. The word you're looking for is mess.
Yeah, Syria was a mess. Iraq was a combination of an occupation and a civil war between.
It was
Sunnis
a hot
and the
mess.
Shiites. Yeah, just an absolute mess.
A hot, stinky mess.
Yeah, nobody wants to see that anymore. So, and my God, could you imagine going to war under Biden and Kamala Harris, right?
Yeah. Well, what is the how much trust is in the from the average soldier or Marine? How much trust do they have in the leadership at this point in time?
Yeah. So the war, I don't know, but the real war is.
I can answer that because I do listen to a Marine, and I can tell you, first thing first, you have to divide American soldiers into 2 groups. They are the fucked up ones who will do
language.
Sorry.
I know you're new, but go ahead.
There's the F1, and then there's the just call them starry-eye, moony ones who don't really know what's going on. They just got baited into joining the army, and that's it. Those are the guys who will probably be going on tour and coming back and committing suicide. But the other side of the American army, the not so nice one, they've been outsourcing MS-13 a few years ago. A lot of them were joining MS-13 and other gangs as well, because the American let's just call it drug cartel on the American side isn't exactly as what it was before. So most of those guys are now joining the army, and they are the guys they will be throwing into battle if it comes down to this. And those guys will go fight under Biden, under a cat, under anyone. They don't really care about anything else. So if you're hoping for the Hollywoodian style American soldier that's depicted as a bullet, all American flag and eagle, that's just a mere 50% of them. Then most of them are not even full-fledged Marine, probably just Rangers, and a few of those. So confidence in the American army below 50%.
Yes,
35,
and like just to veer off into the drug war. I'm halfway through season 2 of Narcos Mexico.
There you go.
And it's like even it actually says in the show, because like it's season 5 of Narcos, and where the narrator said, I'm sure you're a professor in cocaine trafficking by now, meaning you've watched all the other shows. Like there's Narcos, Mexico and Colombia, and Snowfall, and there's so many shows now about the drug trade, and it's almost a conspiracy theorist's dream, because instead of like, oh, look at this information, watch Narcos.
Trying to encourage you to have a go.
Oh, well, I have been thinking of, like, I need a product to sell, and I'll be able to. Now, I know Bruce is going to suggest chickens, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna use heroin or cocaine. It may do well at the start, but it ends badly.
Narcos is good, but there's a few propaganda. Let's just say it's not a complete truth of it, because Pablo
No.
was a
Yeah.
CIA insert in there. Yeah. So,
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Of course, like it's a
But-
television show, so I mean, okay. Why do I know so much about the American political system? I watched The West Wing, so I know it's not a documentary, but there's enough in there to learn from it, and then you obviously find out how things work. And so I know a lot about trafficking drugs at the moment. I will never use it, and it's a good story. So I know there are discrepancies where it's not a docudrama. It's like even Snowfall, which was suggested by Bruce. What they did was that's an alternative reality. Instead of following Freeway Rick, they actually created their own sort of world. And so what's his name? Franklin is basically Rick. But they get away with it's basically the CIA was helping fund rebellions in South America by selling drugs in Los Angeles. But instead of following the actual true story and getting in trouble, they just made up a story around it. That's the best way of explaining it, isn't it, Bruce?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
can still. So you basically you get the premise of the story, but the names have all been completely changed. Go ahead.
You can't really.
Did you
say
watch
they got caught up with the prophet?
Bad Blood Monty?
No, not yet.
000.
Okay.
No, you haven't watched that one. So yeah, if you want it's not exactly drug war, but it's related to the trade. I recommend 000 and Bad Blood Quebec Gang was that's a good TV show as well. But a very good TV show about Vito.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Also, it's not drugs; it's arms dealing. Remember the movie with Nicolas Cage?
Vito Sato.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord of War. If you've seen that movie. Apparently that's based on a true story, but they changed names, obviously. But yeah, in that 2 hours, you go, it's fascinating how these things. It's entertainment, but you also learn things, and also you don't have to become a drug dealer. You can live through the TV, which is very spiritual. It's sort of like, you could try anything on earth. Well, I don't think I'll be Pablo Escobar. I'll just watch a TV show about Pablo Escobar. That's as far as I'll go.
So TV show homework. Give me your recommendation. What was the name? Alternate reality one. Which one? What was the name?
Snowfall. It's called
Snowfall.
And it was
What else?
Well, you got Narcos one. There's 6 seasons of Narcos. One.
I've watched those. I've watched those.
The Wire. If you haven't seen, that's a great show as well.
Watch those. Watch that one of yours.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else on the top of my head. So. Actually, interesting enough, Mayor of Kingstown is a fascinating show as well.
Yeah.
Because it's basically this, it's Jeremy Renner who tries to keep the peace because he's in a fictional town in Wisconsin where there's 8 penitentiaries. And so, he deals with all the gangs and the police and everything else like that. And he tries to keep the peace. And it's fascinating how it unfolds. I haven't seen the finale yet, but I mean, in one episode, they find a school bus with 26 bodies in it. And I'm like, where is this show going?
I keep the peace with a shotgun.
No, it's not. No, it's not blaxploitation from the 70s. Like, I'm gonna hunt down some suckers. It's not like that. But it's very dark. It's dark. And there's one scene where a girl gets beaten up, and that touched me spiritually. I'm like, oh wow. So, like, if you like that type of thing, it's a good show.
You mean emotionally?
Oh yeah, no, I think it even taps spiritually. Like my higher self's going, see, this is wrong. I know it's wrong. Stop. I can't. I need to look away.
Oh, spirituality.
Yeah. So and why not? I mean, if we're all in isolation, like here in Victoria, we can't get. They're called rapid antigen tests or RATs. I'm like, really, Prime Creator once again, like, have you got your rat? And so they've gone from the PCR test or whatever it is, which what was April or August last year, the CDC said, "Oh, we'll stop using these," and it's like, oh, interesting. I wonder why. And now, yeah, it's fascinating how there, if you go woo woo, how the rules are, you have to tell people what's going on to try and entrap them with their consent. But whoever wrote these 2 seasons of Earth, like 2020 and 2021, and going into 2022. Fire them. Send them to Pluto.
They didn't know the first series was going to get out.
Monty.
So all of a sudden they got to write series 2 and 3, and they have no ideas.
Yeah, you know, like the Star Wars sequels. Yes, Raz.
Monty, we had 3 seasons. We skipped 1.
Oh, yeah. I talked to Andrew. Like, I think we're up with season 4 now, because season 3, like, oh geez, this is not going to work out. God. So, yeah, it is kind of fascinating to see how everything is.
I'll tell you a funny story, Monty. I'll tell you a funny story, Monty. So last year,
can you do it next hour? Because we're coming up to the break.
Okay.
And so hopefully we stay on air. You're listening to Planet Collingwood here on Studio A on Revolution Radio. Stick around, and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back. Yes, a TV show from the 70s, which had a young John Travolta. There you are. You are listening to Planet Collingwood, freedomslips.com. What else do you put into the mix? Studio A, Revolution Radio. If you enjoyed the last hour, cool. Please, if you can, go to the said website, freedomslips.com and or revolution.radio, and click on the Patreon button and donate what you can, because we're 100% listener supported, 100% volunteer. We're just 100% yo. And yeah, once you're there, go into the merch desk, buy some T-shirts and onesies for the little ones, and caps and mouse pads and all that type of stuff. Then pop into the chat room, because it's dead. I have that effect on the chat room. It's like, oh yeah, Monty's here, and then it's just, you know, tumbleweeds for another 2 hours. I'm like, oh okay. No, they're just engrossed with what we're saying, and they can't even type. That's how awesome. I have been joined by Cortek, Raz, and Bruce MacDonald. And that's the server. Oh, the server's here. It's always here. So there you go. Yeah. Hurrah! See, now can you imagine the South Park boys doing a sequel to Team America?
Where would you start?
Yeah, it'll be a long film.
They just did it so well. Oh, sorry, mouth it. Ooh,
yeah, they'll never do it though, because they hated actors, so they'll use marionettes, and then they realize that is the worst way of making a movie, and so they'll never make it again. So
they did it better than anyone had ever done it before, though. So you can kind of cross it off your list and close the park down when you do stuff like that. Them in the stage show as well. I mean, it was incredible.
Oh yeah,
every little acting device, the stage, you know, backdrop change and crazy cool stuff that goes on. They did it, and they did it really well.
If I was allowed into the room and I wasn't, you know, covered in a hazmat suit, I would probably watch the Book of Mormon, because it was written by them, and it's that popular. The Church of Mormon actually goes recruiting when the show's in town. That's how good it is.
You know what I bet? You know what I bet would protect you better than the vaccines from COVID? That magical Mormon underwear. I think that's what I need.
Just the image of Bruce on top of a Telemecca mountain, just wearing a set of glowing Y fronts. I'm protected by Jesus.
Jeremiah Johnson with the back flap so you can dump.
Yeah, flapping in the wind. Well, apparently, I tried to read the book, but then someone said just watch Battlestar Galactica, and I did that. 3 days after Christ left his tomb, he popped up in South America. I'm like, well, this is an interesting story. And I actually started to read the actual Book of Mormon, but I was doing it one word at a time. I only used to joke once. So I read, okay, let's just going to read from the Book of Mormon. Come back next week, and I'll tell you the next word.
I read it twice, and that's because there were very few English books when I lived in Taiwan, but the Mormon missionaries were giving out the Book of Mormon, and I just wanted to read. Right, I've always just loved reading, and so I read the Book of Mormon twice, and it's absolutely fascinating. It's magically charged. It's no doubt a Masonic construction. or that ilk of people, somebody with a higher consciousness, but a diabolical intent.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, there's a lot of good stuff in it. Like the idea of keeping your body super clean in this time, this particular age we're living in. They're not even allowed to drink coffee or anything. That's probably not a bad idea, right?
Yeah.
So every religion's got something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they've created an incredible family structure. You have to tip your hat off to the family structure, man. The Mormons.
I'm not a big fan of the church as a collective,
Yeah.
mainly because the top of things, like you being Catholic, Protestant, Anglican, Christendom. I like saying that word. However, the whole sense of community, which can be found everywhere, it is fantastic when 200 people just to get together because they want to, and they help each other. And a perfect example is the Amish, and I found out recently that they're adapting to modern day life. That some have cell phones, but instead of like having 300 people build a barn, they own a power saw. They understand it like, God would allow us to use a power saw instead of spending 45 minutes trying to cut one beam.
Just making it up as they go along.
Oh yeah, but they're doing well, and all their buggies.
Which armies are you talking about?
No, Amish. No, they're not army-ish. What? There's an army in New England? No, Amish.
Just let that one keep going.
Yeah. Dear. Oh, here's a question from the chat, actually, from Flippity Doodah. Hello, the Flipster.
Nice.
How many versions of the Book of Mormon are there? Yeah, well, that's interesting because we know that the Holy Bible has many variations. I think they only have one, because my understanding was that who was the guy that found some gold plates somewhere, translated them. Has no idea how he did, and then the plates were taken back up.
Didn't they ask him to rewrite them?
No. They actually claim the plates exist, but nobody knows where they are. And that's what's his name, Smith, the founder of the Mormon religion. Is it John Smith or I don't know, something like that.
Maybe.
Joseph Smith.
Yeah. It's the youngest major religion on the planet, I would say, apart from Jedi.
Does it read like a sci-fi musical?
Yeah.
If you got nothing better to do.
I'll tell you this: there's dragons in it. Yeah. Did you like Lord of the Rings, Cortek?
Yeah, that was kind of cool. I wouldn't want to go so far as a soul bonding like a Rick and Morty dragon episode, but kind of somewhere in between would be kind of cool. Now, just friendship relationship.
Why hasn't Hollywood made a movie about the Book of Mormon? Because if it's a fantastic story, like there's all these biblical movies, like even I watch them, like the Ten Commandments. I'm not a big fan of whatever, but it's Charlton Heston.
It's got some epic horn stabs.
I actually own a copy of Cleopatra because it's made so well, and apparently that's the 4-hour version. There was an 8-hour version, but they lost the footage. I'm like, how? Like they shoot it into the sun, and it's like those biblical epics where Caesar DeMille, CGI. Can you imagine what DeMille could do today with CGI? Because he did it with all practical effects back then.
Actually had to have thousands of people in the background to pull it off. Yeah.
Yeah, like there's that opera Aida where they hire half the city when it comes to play, and there's like 300 people on stage. Like wow. Oh, I remember the goodies where Tim was dressed as a queen, and he's standing between. Yeah, thank you for ruining the gag. Why are you my sidekick again?
Nice timing, Cortek.
Yeah. The thing about timing. Damn it. You don't cry for me, Argentina. Yeah. If you do like your English comedy, I recommend the goodies because they were more family friendly than, say, Monty Python. But the cool thing is, as I've watched it as a young child and now, as you grow older, you get all the adult jokes. So it's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Oh, one joke I do remember. I think Tim says to Bill Ollity, you really know how to hurt a man, don't you? And he's like, yeah, you kick him in the groin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Tough Room. Obviously, you've been kicked in the nuts before.
I used to love it, and then I went back and I watched it again, and I went, should have just lived with the memory.
Oh well, yeah, that does happen. Where I've had a couple of shows of like, this was brilliant, and started rewatching it, going, oh no, I've evolved, like Duckman or Parker Lewis, where it was great when I saw it when I was 16, but now I'm not 16.
Yeah. So, remember how I said there weren't going to be any wars? There's one exception to that. Probably the biggest conflict America will see is the 2022 Black Friday at just about every Walmart.
Yeah, if it's not
Is
on
that coming
fire. Well, yeah, that'll be
It'll be like the Purge once the scarcity sets in.
Yeah, because Cortek, for you playing at home,
Okay.
you have Thanksgiving, which was a day created by Abraham Lincoln, which is a month. It's the last Thursday in November,
It's
and
for
then
turkeys, isn't it?
yeah, oh, hang on,
Hold on.
turn that off. No caller ID. Well, I'm not answering that.
Oh, hey, Monty, you know what I got?
I hepatitis B. I don't know what.
No, but you're gonna what a thing to say. I can't believe you said that. I got an iPhone 13.
Ooh, so now you can photograph the far side of the moon.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man. I don't know how I lived without one of these things. I've had it for 72 hours.
Yeah, it does. It basically does everything. I think back in the 40s, because when computers, the iPhone would fill my lounge room in space back then, that they actually in the super weapon treaty that they signed, I think it was the G3 Mac was actually more powerful than a super weapon, and the advertising for the G3 was it was in front of a tank with all barbed wires. It's like more powerful than anything else. And I heard a rumor. Now this is a rumor. When the PlayStation 3 came out, they realized that you could take over the Taiwanese defense system because of the technology in the PlayStation 3. It's a rumor.
They bulk bought, or someone bulk bought a bunch of those when it came out, didn't they?
Yeah.
Either that, or they were looking for a quick way to, I don't know, get into crypto quick.
Well, the funny thing is
something
about the funny thing about the Commodore 64 is when the space shuttle was built, that was the high end of technology, and so through the mid to late 80s, NASA was buying up all these Commodore 64s because they had to have adaptable technology. That makes me giggle.
I heard as well there was, with all this chip shortages and stuff like that, there was a robbery of like those 3080 massive graphics cards, and they've turned up somewhere in Malaysia or something.
Yeah, well, that's actually happening now, where because of the supply chain snafu, trying to not swear on air as well, that there's trucks that haven't got this one chip.
Sorry, they're robbed from in the US somewhere.
Yeah. Which would make things worse because there's brand new trucks just rusting in a lot somewhere because they haven't got this one chip from China.
It's because of Bitcoin mining and graphic card and all that.
Oh yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, because apparently, fighting. If you want to fight climate change, stop Bitcoin mining because it produces so much carbon footprint and blah blah blah. Actually, when in the last show they were talking about why not said everyone has a price, and I put into the chat, yes, my price is $4 billion in gold. So I can be bought off, but that's my price.
Put it out there.
Yeah, I will do anything you want if it's $4 billion in gold.
So no war. Well, what's going to happen then? Going to happen then? Standard of living will continue to go down in the first world because it's part of a global equalization point to prime the Great Reset. Now, whether this stuff happens or not, I don't know. I don't think anything is guaranteed now, which I find really, really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But slowly diminishing quality of life for the average North American, Australian, New Zealander, and I think I don't know if economically it's hitting Europe as bad, but here's the upside, Cortek, in increased cable TV programming, better programming on all distributed networks.
Oh, the metaverse.
So it's the best of times and the worst of times.
Is it 100 monkeys sitting at typewriters? It's a big reevaluation time. I don't think you can trust any stats to begin with. But even though these ones are completely different, can't be based on anything anyway. So
spiritual anonymous, one day at a time. Just that's the best way of living life at the moment. Just one day at a time.
Yeah.
I think 2022 will be mostly them trying to get back the entertainment on its feet, especially from a cinema, gaming, movies, Marvel. They're definitely loading up on a lot of nerdy propaganda these days.
Yes, however, I don't think they'll be successful unless they actually realize, the last film in 2019 that got $1 billion was Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and I'm like, really? That was utter shite. The latest film to do that, which is nearly 2 years later, was the latest Spider-Man film, which is No Way Home, which proves if you make a good film without a crappy message and have good writing, people will go see it. However, out of everything else in the last 2 years, just look at all the stuff that's been put out, like Matrix Revolution, Resurrection.
That wasn't a movie. That wasn't a movie. Yeah.
So is there a verdict out for that new Matrix yet?
Whatever the Matrix 4 was, it was not a movie. It's a collage. It's someone's pet project. It's something that happened somewhere.
Kind of like Animatrix kind of categorization.
No, it's bad. Animatrix is good. It's okay. There's bits in it. The fighting in it sucks. But for me, watching it, going, why was this made? Why this? It's just.
At least it's got to have a good ending, huh?
Actually, spoiler alert, after the credits, there's like a marketing focus group. And it's in the story because the idea is that they built the new Matrix using Neo and Trinity, and Neo created the video game, The Matrix. And so everything that it did actually happen, but in the new Matrix, it's a video game. And they decided no, they'll never make it again. And so now Warner Brothers, now this is in the actual film, Warner Brothers wants to make a Matrix 4, and so they've got a marketing focus group of like, what will it be? And they're all putting forward stuff. But at the end of it, they realised that they should we won't make a game. We'll just make cat videos, and we'll call it the Catrix. And that's the post credits scene of Matrix.
That's a nice way to end.
Yeah, especially when you've got Andrew Barsis, the Galactic Historian, saying we are one cat video away from freeing humanity. And I giggled, and I told Andrew to go watch just go that, because the Matrix 4 actually says that at the end. Just cat videos, man.
Are they trying to say that video games and the heavy lifting that video game programmers are doing to make video games realistic is really what's doing the most heavy lifting for AI?
Jesus,
consciousness?
No, they were trying to be funny.
I got a killer cat. I got to tag the cat line. I got a killer line here. This is a comedy show, right?
Yeah.
Is that why they took out Bob Saget, Monty?
Well, yeah. Interesting enough, people are using people are saying he's a pedophile and all that type of stuff, and they're using, like, if you remember, he was he got roasted, like how they do those roasts, and of course.
He raped and murdered a girl in 1990.
Yeah, and so people think that those jokes are real, and that's the style of roasting where it's like the aristocrats joke, which I will not do on air. But it's that shock value and everything else like that. But people are saying, Saget was a part of the pedophile ring and all this type of stuff. And there's a photo of the cast of Fuller House, and there's a panda in it, and you know what that means. And like, really?
What does that mean?
Oh, apparently Pandarise is what happens to a child after, and it's basically because I think. And see what you think of this idea. A lot of conspiracy theorists freaked out in April 2020 because 80% of what they were talking about came true, and 50% of them didn't think it was true. And so now they're filling that void of conspiracy theories because it's actually playing out in real life. And this is why we're getting weird ass like level of stuff. Remember QAnon when they said Trump and Biden actually had a face off and changed faces? It's that level.
They kind of bit themselves with their timelines, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't work because like Biden could fit into Trump like a mechanoid.
Yeah.
And also, Biden broke his foot patting the dog. Like, I'm not sure how you pat a dog, but I don't see how I could break my foot.
Was that recently? I didn't
Oh,
see
that's
that.
last
But then I'm
year.
not watching. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows now? That's the other thing is like, most of us, it's very hard to sort of get material for this show because I'm not watching the narrative because it's just pointless. And it's the same, the whole kicking the can down the road thing. And
Things come out.
Yeah,
Spain
they do.
becomes-
Yeah, well,
Spain's kind of removed their antigen, their Gen Rui antigen tests after random false positives and all randomness.
have you heard of Kakistan? Have you seen what's been happening there?
No.
Really? Oh, they went nuts. Their fuel
Yes.
prices doubled, and they just destroyed everything.
Didn't they turn the internet off and like Bitcoin dove 10 grand or something?
Probably. Oh well, they did. Yeah, they turned it off because they're trying to get control back, and even Russia sent peacekeepers in, and everything else like that. So that seems to be.
Yeah, I read another story that like it's just a heavy mining country just because of lack of legislation, and it turned off a lot of big servers.
Yeah. Well, they forced the government to resign. So
That's kind of cool.
If you're still in that information thing of what's happening on the planet, check out Kakistan, however you say it. Sorry, I've just got to, because of Borat, I just try and block it out of my brain because I'm not a fan of Borat.
Well, that's what you really think.
Well, I think I just did, sir. How dare you?
So
No, I mean,
apparently
if-
there
if-
is a. No, you go.
Okay. Well, if you want to go watch Borat, you can. I haven't seen the second one. The first one, the only time I laughed is when they're having Borat and his manager fighting each other, and they get into the elevator/lift, the small room that goes up and down in buildings. And
dumb waiter.
who are you calling dumb? My name's not waiter either. My point is that that made me giggle because they stopped fighting in the elevator till they got to another floor, and the manager was just sitting there completely naked or standing there naked. So for me, that was funny.
I watched the second one, and I think shit. Oh yes, I managed to retrieve. There was a funny scene. I think he whipped a book on women, and then it turns out it was the Ministry for Animal Welfare, and that made me laugh.
Well, yeah. Kazakhstan aren't happy about those. Yeah, they're not happy about that film. It's like, yeah, well, take it on the chin. It's remember when Lord of the Rings came out? It was one of the best tourism videos for New Zealand. It's like, look at all those mountains.
Oh, no.
I mean, most of them are CGI, but still, I mean, it's,
it's all publicity.
Yeah.
Amazon Lord of the Ring is coming. Why did you bring that in my... Oh, my God. No.
You must be from a different timeline where you don't like things. Because I keep mentioning stuff. I like this. I'm like, all right, fair enough.
No.
Free will, all right, but
no. The original Lord of the Rings, legendary. You made me remember that the Amazon version is coming.
Oh yes, now fair point. Because after watching the Wheel of Time, it's like I'm not gonna. Apparently, in all
that's not even worth looking, is it?
Well, no, because it's like a synopsis of the book. Because I only had eight episodes, and the book goes for 1,000 pages or something like that. So, but Amazon, apparently the Amazon series, which I believe is a prequel when Sauron was doing the first War of the Ring, but they've hired someone for the sex scenes, and a lot of fans have gone, I'm sorry, sex scene? I don't remember seeing any sex scenes in Lord of the Rings or the
spacing it out to like a 3-year classic like they did with Dune.
Who knows? Oh, actually, who knows? We don't know what's going on. They're spending a lot of money on it. And a big happy birthday to Jrr Tolkien, who turned 140. He would have turned 140 last week.
Maybe he did somewhere.
Imagine that. Hollywood, West Hollywood, like the most sexual degenerate haven on the planet, hired a advisor for a sex scene. Wow. Can't they just look out the window or something?
Yeah, maybe not. Hopefully they're not in San Francisco, because if they look, you'd be amazed what you see in San Francisco these days. Because, the streets paved with gold. That's not gold, my friends.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard the bridge moans. And apparently a lot of people are like Arizona and Texas and New Mexico. It's like there's too many Californians moving here.
But yeah, earlier you mentioned the country. What happened in Kazakhstan? I heard there was a petroleum price something. A bunch of people came in and then shot the place up. What happened? Any one of you?
Because it's not political. It was just the people getting they were being clamped down. Like the petrol doubled, and that was the touch paper to light the fire. And so they're actually it's anarchy on the modern day version of it. It's total revolution because they've had enough of the corrupt government.
Yeah, it does seem like something that just snowballed. I think their choice to turn the internet off, which was what started everything, was to stop people coordinating for protests, as something as simple as that. And then that shut down all the crypto mining and everything, I think, which is how I heard about it. And I don't know what happened from there, but apparently, yeah, there's a government overturned.
Well, I remember as well, just very quickly, in 24 hours, a documentary called Battleground Melbourne is actually being uploaded to the internet. And it's a documentary over the last 2 years of what's happened in Melbourne. So if you're fascinated to see what I've gone through,
that's amazing.
I will share it before it gets taken off YouTube and everything else like that. But it's basically pointing out it's the other side of the media because, police and human rights and everything else, and we're still going in it. So I'm sure there'll be an update or a new one because 2022. You thought 21 was bad.
Yeah, well, it's kind of footage of absolute warfare, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And not historical ones where you have to get a bad resolution. It's
no.
Shocking.
Well, there was. Yeah. Sorry, I giggle because there are actually at the front of Djokovic's hotel where he's been detained. There are Serbian and tennis fans out the front, or was it his lawyers? But the Victorian police basically started bringing in the riot squad again for tennis fans.
They're just celebrated to have a world-class sportsman that's their homie.
Mm-hmm. But there's Australians who believe that he's going to infect us all and kill us.
Well, it's about hypocrisy. Again, today's show is brought to you by the letter H.
Yeah. And Cortek, have you seen that footage of two news reporters on Channel 7 having a chat off air, but they were recorded? And it's very Australian. We can't play it on the show because it's very Australian, so they're swearing every third word. But they put forward their beliefs and opinions of said tennis player.
And it's not about that now. It's about it's a witch hunt for whoever leaked the microphone, the audio or whatever. Actually, can we just not have an Assange approach to that kind of thing? Let's just kind of actually, these people were wrong. Mike's always on.
Someone actually put forward that it was probably a Serbian working at Channel 7 who just had enough. He leaked the footage.
Well played.
Yeah. And someone else said, they're just using it to ramp up the division. It's like, that's the thing about Team Dark. I don't think they're in total control, but they have contingency plans through the wazoo. And so if anything happens naturally, in less than 45 minutes, their plans kick in and they use whatever that event has happened, and they'll use it to their benefit.
Does seem to be the pattern. Over.
Yeah. And it's kind of getting tiring. Just like where I think what's also happening is because people are saying it's the awakening. Well, there's a political awakening, and if you if you hang out with a galactic historian long enough, you realize you have 99.5% of the rest of reality to awaken to. Good luck with that. But the awakening, politically, is a good start. And can you imagine a world without the corruption in the system? Oh my!
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Might be a little tricky to get started, get things going and make sure things have the right kind of model to go by. But, get it going, and I reckon it'd be awesome.
Well, I mean, the system on paper, dare I say the American system, looks good, but it's full of corruption, and that's why it doesn't work.
How do you do it? Everyone's too afraid of robots, so...
Oh, well, yeah, there's that whole thing with, technology screaming through the roof, but, there's a great reset. Yeah, you'll probably find there's going to be a great reject straight afterward. Because what's the selling point of, you'll own nothing and you'll be happy? Well, that sounds like a threat.
Yeah, Klaus really, really blew his load with those pointy shoulders too soon, didn't he? I mean, dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
The Andromedan ambassador was not well received.
Don't mind me.
Yeah.
They made this for me in Munich.
I love this. Look, it's got sparkles on it. It goes to points.
Yeah, I've been watching because I got the James Bond box set, and it's 24 movies. I've just finished number 10. And my mind's in a really weird thing. So, yeah, if you want to change the world and do a great reset, don't send a German who's completely humorless and dresses in Asian decor. It's like, yeah, we will start a new... I've seen Strangelove. This is not going to work out well.
No.
Super weird.
But it's fascinating. And also, we've been here how long as humans? And we survived that. I mean, the Roman Empire, it kind of got crappy a bit afterwards, but do you think the Picts in Scotland cared that Rome got sacked? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, hey, Jock, did you hear something? No. Well, it'll be fascinating to see what will come out on the other end, but we're not going to go into a Mad Max world.
We have sent a probe into the sun. I'm not sure if you're aware of it.
Well, that's what I was getting at with all the the global awakening and which is just political. You've got basically the sun coming out of its 500-year cycle of being in a minimum, and because the magnetic sphere around the planet and the system is weakened, we're getting wacky stuff, and who knows whether we are in the galaxy, if it's the photon belt, it is all of this stuff as well. That's why everyone's a bit nutty. Because, do you play the nap roulette game where I'm just going to take a quick nap? It could be 10 minutes, it could be 4 hours, but that's the way I like to live.
The body kind of takes charge at that point, and it's kind of,
Yeah, and who knows?
They should be able to choose what's going on.
And who knows what's happening to you astrally? I keep waking up tired and what am I doing in the dream world? How much work am I doing? If I can manifest anything, why am I lifting heavy rocks by myself?
Maybe there's certain times when we shouldn't nap.
Well, tell the body that, because I'll just close my eyes and bang, it's Tuesday.
Were you napping willy-nilly?
And it's not because I'm getting old. It's because teenagers have done the same thing. 16-year-olds I just had a 4-hour nap. I'm like, wow. So who knows what energy is coming through, and the planet's changing and everything as well. I mean, did this happen 500 years ago? And that was before the Enlightenment. When was the Enlightenment?
I think we came from having a nice old nap. Yeah, someone else said that the serfs had they worked less hours than us, and they had an afternoon nap. And the Spanish still do the afternoon nap. It's like we're doing something right.
Oh yeah,
little power. 5-10 minutes. 5-10 minutes.
The siesta is a wonderful thing for the human body, but here in Australia, you had a nap. I'm like, don't degrade it. Yeah, twang. I like that. I invented a swear word, twang. It's up there with spoon.
I think country music aficionados might be a little bit upset.
Well, I'm not a country and western fan. Yeah, I mean there are good music in every genre, but I find very minimal stuff from country and western music.
What about these days?
Oh, especially these days. I mean, most of what they call country is just basically cowboy pop.
Wow.
Yeah, like, Garth Brooks, I can see why he was popular, but everyone else was like, really? Like, that's just a pop song with a twang in their voice.
Yeah, good marketing, I think. You got people who came out 6 months and started a 6 months campaign. Oh, look at this guy! He smashes a guitar.
Yeah, well, like Shania Twain has got one of the biggest selling records in history, and she came from a country and western background, and yet she released an album which was slightly more pop. And then, damn,
I remember that year.
What is the song? Damn, I feel like a woman. It's like a lot of pervy guys sing it. Like, like I feel like a woman. But obviously, it was empowering for femininity and stuff.
I remember that.
But does that song doesn't sound like a country and western song? Go ahead.
Yeah, she should have got country album of the year, and they gave it to 3 chicks, Dixie Chicks or whatever. Don't tell me why I retained this. Three Dixie Chicks, and Dixie Chicks got up there and was like, we think she should have got it. This is crazy. This is just giving it to who adheres to these old standards. So it was very, very much nails in the coffin.
A comment from the chat room, Flippy Doodah, which is I like because it's Doodah, but Shania Twang. There you
go. Yeah. Zing.
Oh yeah, but it's but also there's a reason why Dolly Parton opened a theme park. She was extremely successful.
Is that true?
Yeah, Dollywood. You've never heard of Dollywood?
Is it a real thing?
you haven't. What timeline are you from? Dollywood, man.
Not Dolly World, Dollywood.
No, Dollywood. And Dolly's history story is fascinating because she would actually have to sleep in a bed with 8 other family members, and the shack was so bad there was actually lines of snow on the floor during winter. And then she goes on to be one of the biggest artists on the planet.
Oh my God, it's like Disneyland.
Yeah. And she actually did a couple of movies, 9 to 5.
Classic. Crazy. Well, that's one of those things you just didn't expect to see.
Oh, pardon me. Thank you, Flippy. Yeah. Pardon me. And it's interesting, this new world of COVID where we won't go into lockdowns. It's just a lot of bands are actually cancelling tours because they don't know if it's not worth going out on tour and then, say, 3 shows in, someone gets COVID and they have to isolate for 2 weeks. And so the entertainment industry's getting hit in the nuts again.
Yeah.
And see, the thing is, the government said, here in Victoria, well, when we get vaccinated and we'll get to 80%, everything will go to normal.
It does seem like a systematic attack on the arts and all entertainment industries. Every single festival over here, really, you get within 2 or 3 days and something gets called, oh, little Johnny's got the sniffles down the road. Oh, I can't insure that. Sorry, all you festival kind of promoters, you lost your money. Oh, is that the second time you lost your money? Oh, you lost your house. Oh, well. Who's going to put on festivals now? The government. Yeah, we'll have exposés like we had on Christmas Eve in Sydney with the likes of Johnny Farnham and anyone else who could sing a cover song. It was so woeful.
Glad I missed that. But if you expand that out, if, say, tomorrow, Cortek discovers the cure for COVID and it's eat pineapple, for whatever reason, we still have the economic fallout. As I point out occasionally, December 2019, the economy was completely stuffed and about to collapse. And then we've had 2 years of lockdowns and printing a lot of money. So economically, we are so much worse. But everyone's like, la, 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 don't look at that. La, 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 la.
Well, seems to be the way, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the way I do it, Bruce has got a wonderful way of he moved to a mountain and created his own life and he's doing well. The only problem is that I think with Bruce is he doesn't like telling people he's doing well. That's the only thing I find wrong.
I don't like talking to Five Eyes people because nobody's doing well, man. I mean,
I'm doing all right.
It's a tough go, man. It's a tough go.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, it's intentional. It's intentional, it's focused, and it's part of a larger agenda that they're just not talking about, right? But this is the breaking of the first world, or they're going to try anyways.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, the North America that's existed for the last, let's say, 30 years, let's go back to 1990, 91, it's going away. Something new is coming. Some things will be worse, some things will be better. But just prepare for change, man. You know, prepare for change. And, you know, pull yourself out of dramatic narratives that force you to a suicidal state of mind.
Yeah. You create your own reality, so you stop giving energy to watching the news 24/7, where you can adapt. Where I mean, it's not obviously the same.
Don't watch it at all.
Well, that too, but I mean, I could go to a venue and watch stand-up comedy, but I can't right now because of passports and restrictions on venues and everything else like that. But I have YouTube. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the rest of my life for the next 30 to 40 years of just sitting watching a computer. But while this, we're
it's a good time to look at open broadcast software and stuff like that.
Well, also, find your passion, and if you can make money out of it and go from there, you can survive. Being a human on the planet Earth, there's an element of compromise. And like, if I can use Bruce as an example, a compromise is he can't go see his favorite band because they don't really tour. What's your favorite band, Bruce, as an example?
Radiohead.
Yeah, Radiohead doesn't really tour San Juan that much, do they?
San Jose.
San Jose, yeah.
Actually, I think they've been here.
Yeah, well, mate, once. But my point being is you can't just go down the street and watch Dave Chappelle do a quick 50 minutes.
Yeah, he's been there too.
Not yet, but I think they're all here, Monty.
You know my point then. Gee, does everyone miss over the word example? Like, it's theoretical. I'm not saying this is true. But, you find your passion. You can still be, find autonomy, self-sustaining, even in this craziness. And there's slight compromise of, like, don't go near other people because they're all nuts. And let them deal with their stuff. And you deal with your own stuff. And, integrity, be nice, and all that type of stuff. You'll be amazed, like, whatever wobble we're going through. Now, I do agree with you, Bruce, that they're trying to break the first world. And we'll come out of it. And in 30 years from whenever we come out of it, we can be back to being super awesome again, or even not seen in history. The point is, you can survive this. You're a human. You'll be amazed what humans can actually go through.
Oh, America's gonna come out of this much, much better, and it's gonna be a different and stronger country in 25 or 30 years with the next generation. And Canada too. I think this shakeup is needed. Yeah. More and more I see everything that's going on is needed. And not horrific, and not this and not that. But it's all where you place your expectations and what you think is supposed to happen. And even thinking something is supposed to happen is probably not a good thing to do. Just let whatever is going to happen happen.
Yeah. Right? Well, that's one thing I've sort of noticed. Like, back in the day, we're going to 5D, and then slowly realize, eventually, if I do the work, and it could be a couple of lifetimes, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the seventh layer of hell till then. Like, I mean, Bruce, we've shared the example of it's like crawling across a football field covered in glass, and then you getting halfway and remember, hang on, I can levitate. And the second half is just you floating over it like a god to get to. We don't know. In the end, it's going to be all right. We just don't know how we're going to get there yet.
Yeah, and if you find yourself particularly melancholic, get yourself a new Apple product.
You maybe find your passion, find a hobby, but that could involve your new iPhone, because you could start taking videos, and some people can get popular by just filming themselves going for a walk and expressing themselves, and they could be a viral sensation on YouTube.
What an age we live in.
Yeah, like is it Sticks Hammer 66 or something like that?
Hammer.
Yeah. Like, his production values, it's not a James Bond film. It's just him patting a cat in front of a video. It goes for 7 minutes, and he just shares his thoughts, and they're brilliant. because he's just going, he talks about a subject, blah, 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 this could happen, that could happen, blah, blah. That is all, click, and that's it. And look how big he is. And it's just him in front of a webcam going, this is what I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get a YouTube channel anytime soon. I've chosen my medium, and it's the printed word, Monty.
Yeah, well, see, yeah, not everyone become a YouTube channel because no one would watch because everyone's on YouTube making films. But it's whatever the passion you have. Like, so let's talk about, we've got about 10, 15 minutes. Let's talk about positive stuff that happened in 2020. A lot of people started getting into gardening and starting growing their own food. Like
the Great Resignation sounded positive.
Yeah, because notice how they tried to spin that as a bad thing. But everyone's after being locked down, say from a Victorian point of view, locked down forever. But being locked down for like 2 months was like, I hate my job. And because they don't have that.
I don't want to go back.
Yeah, I don't want to go back. Yeah, I don't want to spend 40 hours a week slaving away at a job I don't like to get money that I can't spend. And especially now, most of it's just on bills because of the way the economy is. When I was a teenager, one parent would go to work and the other one would stay home, help raise the kids, and they would still have a holiday house, boats and 4 cars and everything else like that. Now, like, remember when George W. Bush, the genius, giggle, he was talking to a woman at a town hall event, and she said, I've got 3 jobs. And he just turns to the camera and says, oh, how American's that? And everyone's like, I'm sorry, what? Like, having a job is American. Having 3 just to survive, that doesn't sound very good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like there's any kind of anyone of Gen X generation or whatever that's going to have parents that aren't going to, sell down to a smaller size and have nothing by the time, have nothing to pass on anyway. And it seems almost like 1 or 2 generations we've made that difference.
Actually, I saw an article somewhere where they were pointing out that Gen X is the perfect generation for this right now. Because it's, I mean, apart from that slight apathy of like, yeah, whatever, we still remember where I tried to ask Cortek how old he was, and he wouldn't buckle under the pressure.
No one should do numbers. Celebrate life. Numbers are...
All right, calm down, you weirdo hippie. My question, my thing is, Cortek, do you remember when a phone, right, you know what a phone is?
Mm-hmm.
It was connected to your house by a cord.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So
you used to see those American movies where they had like a 20-meter cord and they could go right around the corner and went,
yes, but this is before,
good.
Because like if I wanted to ring you or Bruce, I had to hope that you were there. And so like the mobile phone or cell phone has kind of made things kind of worse because you can be interrupted at any point during the day and you're expected to answer your phone. Not like in the 80s where you could go out to a bar and you get all these messages from an angry parent when you got home.
I like that, that not having the fine detail in technology, or if you're meeting someone, not having to, oh, there they are. Oh, you look for them. Oh, that wasn't so hard. I think, we could do better.
Well, see that Generation X, because we've lived through the beginnings of smartphones as well as the internet. We do remember a time where there was only 3 channels on the television. Like, I mean, now obviously we could, start arguing about how, that was controlled and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, everything's slightly, when people ask me a question on the internet, it's like, you have the Library of Atlantis at your fingertips. No, to be fair, you should only ask once. So, Cortek, if I ask you a question and you don't know, it's like, okay, I'll do my own research. I don't expect you be badgered for 45 minutes with a light globe in your eye saying, why don't you know? You know what I mean? You ask once because you actually get someone may know something, and from experience, they will go, oh, yes, I bought this when I was this age and it did this and this and this. If they say, I don't know, it's like, okay, I will go on the internet and I will check myself. instead of
Maybe they
going,
think
oh
you
well,
can give not just the access to the the topic, but also like an insight of what they want to know, all in one question.
yeah,
It's lazy questioning.
Yeah, well, I realized, I asked my parents questions because, they've done this life thing longer than me, and I'm a 48-year-old teenager, and so like, oh, should I buy a vacuum, and like, what should I buy? And it's like, well, we got this one and it sucks. Oh, no, that's good. You need a vacuum that sucks. You know what I mean? I asked the question once, and if I can't remember, it's like, all right, instead of getting them to do the research, I do my research. So, can you remember any positive things that happened in 2020 and 2021?
Go, Bruce.
Well, I wrote a book in each of those years.
So and they've been successful enough.
Yeah, I went into farming, and it's you know what? That's a growing business.
Hey.
Hey yo, Bruce MacDonald's here all week. Try the seal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see the world in a very negative way right now, but I understand how certain people could, And then there's people who think the world is flat too. So,
And there's people
you have to honor their free will.
TV.
Yeah, honor their free will. I love people. That's why I don't go near them. So that's how that's how it works. Right,
boundless love.
Yeah,
we celebrate you, Homo stupidus.
Yeah.
No
Your God of Homer
here.
Simpson. Yes, yeah.
And
it's that classic thing of leave me alone, let me live. If you do, you live by the universal laws, and one of them's do no harm. And so, what's wrong with that? Raz, do you have any positive that popped up in the last 2 years?
I got no beef. I got no beef with flat earthers, Monty. I mean, I even want to help them. Put a little bit of your weight on your knuckles; it'll take the strain off your knees.
Yeah, fair enough. But also, we live in a simulation, so if they create their world in that frame, it's possible. So So, go ahead, Raz.
So, 2020 to 2021. I met Andrew in January 2020. So life got derailed completely then.
Well,
and I think I managed the whole pandemic, staying at home, being a newfound sort of, because I've been a hermit officially for 2 years now. Mm-hmm. Hermit in the sense that I do keep the gym life, the reading, the studying, learning, and everything on. Okay, and and at the same time enjoying being a hermit, and binge watching TV shows, which has been relaxing, because in 2010 to 2020, I didn't have like half of the decade. I didn't even have it a second free in it. Like I talked to someone online, and then I talked to him again. And he's like, where have you been? I'm like, what are you talking about? We just talked yesterday. He's like, no, it's been 6 months. I'm like, crap. All the alcohol, all the weed, all the being outside, because I was in New Zealand for 5 years. And time went by really, 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 really fast. Yeah. And I was going through all kinds of things. So if I have to put two key things in the last 2 years, I got to meet the Pata frequency guy. I got to talk to him. I got to have a session with him. From a spiritual perspective, he was the guy who did the Giza pyramid.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So that was really, really cool. That was really, really high frequency. I met Andrew, and just life changing completely. Nothing I would say has been key moment. Extraordinaire, but on overall, it's been a good 2 years because I managed it well. I didn't have any problem from a financial department or any problem from, I would say, the COVID pandemic department, because I'm in Mauritius, It's we're just following whatever the big guys are throwing at us. So, everything's okay.
You see how he snuck extraordinaire in there instead of extraordinary? That's how it starts with these French, Monty.
I know. It's the English language. A third
Suddenly,
of it's French anyway. So.
Suddenly we're speaking their language.
Well, Bruce, that was a surprise. Surprise. Oh, all right. Yeah, are you having a go at my accent, mate? Are you having a go at my accent? And I'm just joking. That's what I do. And I only know that because I watched a James Bond film, and like, the last thing at the end of it is like, it's a Pavlova surprise, and there was a bomb in it. So yeah, which makes the unfortunate events of Lickety Split, whatever that one was, with Jim Carrey, and he would say surprise. It just made it funnier. So there you go. We're coming up to the end of the show. So gentlemen, any passing thoughts or messages that are clean that you would like to give the listeners?
Oh.
Well, thank you, Cortek.
Homo stupidus, get off your knuckles and walk around a little bit in this beautiful round globe, this spaceship we're on in the middle of this galaxy, this solar system, this universe, and enjoy yourself and stop being so afraid. The bad men aren't coming down from the mountain to destroy your village.
Yeah, change your frequency and become awesome, and become your personal shaman, and become the fractal of the Prime Creator that you've always been. Now, obviously, yeah, you are God, but you're not in God mode. You're in human mode. Sorry to break it that way. Raz, any passing?
No, nothing beside stay healthy, stay out of if you're feeling a little bit like iffy over mask, just wear your mask, go do whatever you have to do. Don't let people bully you with their BS. So stay healthy, stay inside, stay off the news as much as you can, no porn, and you'll be healthy as F.
Yeah, be awesome. That's all I can say. Thank you for... Yeah, gentlemen, stick around for a debrief just in a few moments. You have been listening to Planet Collingwood. We'll be back in 6 days and 22 hours. Take care, everyone. I love you from afar, and we'll keep it that way. See you soon.